Like it. Hello, Kevin.
How's it going, everybody?
Good. How
Good.
about yourself?
It has been hectic. Way
Been hectic?
going on.
What's going on?
I've been in and out of the office. Just crap going on at the house, and yeah, was supposed to be here
Uh,
yesterday. Wasn't here. Supposed to be here Friday. Wasn't here. Even early. Coming in late. Yeah. So
I can relate. My daughter's in a cello camp right now. She's been playing since she was like 6 years old, and
okay.
she's now 14 and kind of in one of advanced orchestra, which has been really fun for me as a dad. I love music, and my wife loves it even more than I do. But yeah, I mean, it takes time out of your day to go, you know what I mean, to do stuff like that and everything
Oh,
else.
it definitely does.
I don't know if you're into music or not, but
My daughter played the violin for 6, 7 years.
wow, it's
So
impressive.
yeah, she decided she wasn't gonna take it on to college with her. So
It's okay. I played the oboe. Nobody knows that, but I was an oboist for a while, and I really enjoyed playing it. But I was more of an athlete. I wrestled for a long time, so
okay.
that was my thing. Well, we would love to kind of just talk you through pricing. Kevin, I know you've been through a million of these. I would love your open, honest feedback as we go through this. I will tell you, we pretty much matched the rate that we had before with you,
Okay.
which was at 15% in terms of a contingency rate. First, overall impressions of that before I kind of jump in and talk through that.
I think that rate is acceptable. I think that's in line with what I've seen from other people. So
Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you could see that.
yep, I can see it.
So, as part of the overall audit plan, we planned on reviewing 2022 and 2023 first. And
Yep.
then for year two, we'd like, as you do your internal review, we would love to do 2024 as well as kind of a second stage of that. With this, we're including an AP audit, a merchandise audit as part of the overall package. We would love to include the statement audit, as part of that too, to be able to do, to track all of that. In terms of a start date, when would you want to start? I will tell you one suggestion I have is there are holidays after October, November, December. It's something to think about. That's why I'm kind of bringing that up. Um, but what are your thoughts in terms of a start date? Would you like to start now, maybe over the next few months? Um, Talk to me.
That's a good question. So since I was off on Friday, I guess there was a meeting. Um, my controller was talking with the merchandise controller, and they are discussing with the 18 months that they're behind. So last little update I kind of got on Monday was, well, do we delay this for 6 months to a year and try to get our merchandising auditors up to a 12-month um, behind,
Hmm.
and then we potentially open up. So we would be doing, up through 24.
Hmm.
So that's kind of the question right now. That's kind of coming into play. Do we delay this for 6 months to a year? Let them get caught up, and or I don't know if caught up's the right word, but closer to the closer to date.
Hmm.
So that's where I am waiting for what the what the final thought process is there. So as far as I'm concerned, on my end or what it's going to take from me and all that type of stuff, I could be ready to go in a matter of weeks with getting the IT department probably on board and everything else.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to hear what the final answer is going to be. Are we pushing it off, or are we going to make it
Okay.
happen? So
Would that only pertain to 2024 review? That's what they're looking at, right? Or
they were talking the whole thing. Is
oh,
it
okay.
better to wait and just do 3 years at a crack? Do
Mm,
22 through 24 and go from there. So we'd make it back to a 36-month review.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
So I'm waiting for them to hammer everything out on my end. You know, for Ben and I, it's not going to matter a whole lot one way or another. So I'm just letting them,
Mm-hmm.
my controller and the merchandising controller, who's in charge of the merchandising auditors and stuff like that, hammer everything out and get all that stuff figured out. So, you know, ultimately the merchandising controller, he's going to be the one that, you know, anything that's written up, you know, any uh, claims that are written, it's going to be him, and he's going to work with the departments to make sure that everything is, you know, acceptable or whatever. You know, there's no.
I guess one question I would have, which way are they leaning in terms of internal versus external for doing the audit? And just from your sense, and two, would it be possible for us to kind of talk through that merchandise controller and talk them through our process and get an introductory call?
I'm a little bit nicer, Mike, than other people.
Love the honesty. I mean,
Um,
is there a
I,
plan though? Just with that, Kevin, before you answer, is there a plan on how they're going to catch up?
I don't know if they're throwing more people at. I don't know. I don't, like I said, I wasn't at the meeting.
Right.
I
Right.
didn't make it to the meeting. I had other stuff come up.
That makes
So
sense.
you know, I don't know if they're throwing more people at it. I don't know if they're going to more overtime. I don't know. I I can't speak for them or what his or
Hmm.
their thought process is on what it's going to take to get caught up. In all honesty, I have a hard time seeing in 6 months' time that they're going to magically catch up. You know, 6+ months worth of stuff.
Hmm.
I don't see it. You know, when you're already on an 18-month um, kind of
Schedule.
behind, you know, schedule. I don't know how you make up 6 months that fast.
Okay.
Um, I'm, you know, I don't see it, but that's also why I don't make the big bucks.
Kevin, so we can be the most helpful, and I don't want to irritate anyone on the sales side. Talk me through your next 2 to 4 weeks in terms of process and how this is going to pan out and how they're going to make a decision on what they're going to do.
Yeah, right now it's between the controllers talking. So, you know, I can put my input on the next meeting or when they have the next meeting. Up until that time, you know, my controller, Aaron, you know, I've talked with him about it. You know, he knows, yeah, we should be doing one, but of course, the internal team always has the
Yeah, but
first right to
right.
audit. Yep.
Hmm.
So that's just kind of where we're at
Okay.
with it right now. So
So it sounds like on your end, you'd like to use a third party to help with the audit. In terms of our meetings, I mean, I'm going to ask you a very blunt question. Would we be your vendor of choice for that at this time?
I'm going to say you're in the top two.
That is a fair answer.
I say I can't tell you you're number one. I can't tell you you're number two, but you're in the top two.
All right. Well,
I got another question for you guys. Being that I feel 6 months is not going to be long enough for them to get caught up, and I don't even know. I'm hoping within 12 months they would be able to. I mean, that put me at next July, basically. Since you guys are doing real time auditing at other clients, You're doing up to today's type stuff. What is the tariff scenarios, situations causing for dilemmas? Because in my mind, being if I'm pushing this out 6 months, 12 months, I might as well push it out 18 months, put it to due in the beginning of 2027. And that way, hopefully by then they would definitely be caught up to within 12 months time. And that way I could open up 25 for audit.
Mm-hmm.
And with all this tariffs, I mean, one day there's 100% tariff, and the next day it's 30%. 2 months later, it's something else. I don't even know how much of a cluster that is to even try to review or try to. I mean, what are you guys seeing on that end with these
Yeah.
fluctuations?
Yeah. So from that standpoint, a lot of that is current scope. And yes, we are very close at many other places. That's just the best case scenario. And I wouldn't say the best case scenario, but in the majority, we're reviewing usually 1 quarter behind. So we are just getting into at a lot of our clients
Okay.
that Q1 time period of 2025. So that's when all that tariff discussion started up. We haven't really seen an impact to our audit claims. We have not seen an impact to the collections of audit claims. But what I have seen is our clients' availability is dwindling as far as giving any attention or focus to maybe the audits they were doing internally or even working on our claims as well. Resources are being pulled away to focus on tariffs. And a lot of the tariffs are, how are we going to renegotiate pricing? So the buyers are going back to the suppliers, trying to get that right pricing. So they're not passing all those costs over to the guests, right? The customers. That seems to be their focus these last 2 months. I will say that there has been some requests of some clients of ours to start looking and auditing tariffs, and we're actively in discussions on that. Because just what you said, it's 10% one day, it's 20% the next day. Now it's back to 10%. What's that right tariff that's being applied? So we are in discussions with a couple on that right now, taking a look at that. I, to go back to your question, I understand your dilemma about moving the audit and just doing it all at once. Um, I would encourage that we don't do that, especially for 22 and 23, because the further we get out, the likelihood of us collecting claims on that time period, it's going to be extremely difficult, right? And that's why we didn't include 2021 in here, because that is
Yeah.
going to be an extreme challenge. Now, if we find something, my approach would be, we're going to present it to you and say, hey, this is clear cut. Do you want to go after it? It's 2021. Let's say a rebate that was missed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume you're going to say yes, and we might need to make a special amendment to our contract to say that's okay. But the main focus is going to be 22 and 23. If we wait another couple of years, maybe both of those audit years are just out of the picture. It's not like we're going to be able to kick the can down the road and do 4 years or 3 years at
Yep.
once. It's still probably going to be a 2 to 3 year window that's really eligible for us to be successful.
Okay.
So you're
Okay.
not alone. You're not alone. And the reason why I asked that question about what their plan is if you're truly wanting to get closer to the transaction, and I agree, having an internal team, that's your money. You get to keep, 99% less your own, operating costs that you have, right?
Yep.
You keep a lot more of it. If it's a pricing discussion, right? And knowing that 24 is not done, we can have those discussions. I want to be a partner for you to get you where you want to be. I don't want it to be a barrier for us kicking off this engagement, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. And that's kind of the thing. I mean,
Because we could help you actually develop that internally too a little bit better. I mean, you're going to see where we're writing, and that's going to give you, without us even telling you, it's going to give you, oh, we got to button up this hole, right?
Yep.
And as you get into looking at 2025 transactions and getting closer yourself, let's say you get caught up, then our post audit could be 1 quarter removed, right? You look at Q1 transactions in Q2, we look at it in Q3. That's the ideal scenario because you don't want that error to keep happening Q1 through all the way through Q4, right? It's probably
Yep.
not a good business practice for you, even if you find it internally. You're still missing out on that money up front, right? And then correcting that buyer's behavior. There's all those ripple effects that'll benefit you.
Yeah. I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm trying to give you some ammunition to go back and have this argument saying I don't think a delay, and this is my point of view, a little bit
Yep.
biased because we want to do work with you. But my bias is, I don't think a delay is in your best interest, and I don't think if you're 18 months behind, you might be 2 years before you catch up.
That would definitely be a concern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the further and further we get behind from the transaction date, the harder and harder it is. I mean, so
Now that we have a NDA, I believe, signed,
Yeah, we
yes,
do.
so can I ask you a question? What's the size of your internal team today?
it is. Well, here, let me pull it up on my chart here.
Perfect.
Let's see here. Say last time I thought it was about 4 or 5 people that do nothing but sit here and audit vendors.
Okay.
Let's see here. Oh shit, I lied. I'm sorry. No wonder they're 18 months behind. They have 2 people doing it full time and 2 people that are part time at it because I know they have other responsibilities other than doing that auditing. So they have a total of 4 people, but only 2 are fully doing it.
That's more ammo for you.
Yeah. And
That's more ammo that we could have another discussion because this post audit's great, right? It's starting that partnership up again, right? After a
Hmm.
couple decade hiatus, right?
yep.
Um,
Yeah.
with 2
Yeah,
people,
that
we should
is
really be talking about real time with you. We should get as close as we can, and if it's pricing and numbers, we can talk about that. But we should really, you know, I we're doing it at a couple other places. I can't tell you who, but we're doing it there, and it's called an. I phrased it as an internal partnership. We can
okay.
work side by side with your internal team members, right? But there's if you have this stack of work, right? It's going to just take them however long it's going to take them to get through that. Instead, we could focus on a category, an area, a subset of vendors, whatever we want to tailor it as. And then simultaneously, we will work on the remaining part, right? So you're still learning, you're still paying zero for it because you're writing those claims for those categories. But what we're doing is we're bringing all those dollars up faster, right? And bringing them into that real time. Um, I won't lie, that's probably something we should be talking instead of just plugging in and looking at 22, right? We should probably be talking about more closer to get you to where you want to be. And then you can evaluate, you could say you're going to learn immediately. And if you want to invest in more internal team members, by all means, like that's an
Yep.
avenue you could take. Or you could say, if the price is right, we just do it as a full outsource.
I know that probably won't happen, but out of curiosity, what would something like that cost?
Much lower than this rate today
Oh yeah.
because
I
this
mean, yeah.
we're definitely talking single digits. And to be honest with you, it could, some of the ones that we're actually talking to about it now are just exploring a flat fee for it as well, getting away from a contingency model because the contingency is great. right? You only pay us if we get something back for you.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
if the unknown of what we will get for you varies too much, you might feel like you overpaid, right? The rate might be off. Um, on the flip side, if we don't find as much as what we were expecting, we might be, feeling like we're underpaid for the services that we provide. So the flat fee model has been implemented at a couple very large retailers in the US. They have gone away from the contingency for those straight reasons.
Okay.
And if that boils down to me running, you know, true staffing levels to get the stuff done, to meet your expectations, the acceleration, how fast of getting those dollars back for you is, pricing it out that way instead of a contingency model. We could still go to the contingency route, but like I said, that opens you up, and then I guess you use that funds to pay us, right? If you're, in this rate, you get 85% back, so it's
Yep.
self-funded. That's the appeal of it. But even in a flat rate world, I can guarantee you we're going to get you more, because we're going to want to continue to do it to prove that the value is there, the ROI is there, right?
I was gonna say I don't know if Menards would go for it, but I would definitely be curious just to hear
Okay.
uh, a couple of number. You don't have to be exact by any
Mm-hmm.
means, Patrick, on this at all. Um, I
Let
would just,
We're happy.
I would love to hear and to me that could even be a selling point. I mean, if you told me the flat fee was X dollars, whatever it is, you guys have to figure out your number. Um,
Well,
and
tell
I
me
mean,
this, but tell me this, what are they writing like for the 2023 that they completed? This is going to be helpful, right? What did they find
I
as
believe it was
the
about 15.
15 million? Okay. And that was just 2023, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
can I
that
get
that
back
would
to
be
you
what
on this?
they wrote up totally in 2023. So there might have been some 22 programs or 21 programs as they were auditing.
Oh, okay. So would 12 to 15 be a acceptable range, do you think?
Yeah, yeah, probably.
Okay. Um,
Yeah, I just don't know.
can I get you a number by the end of the day today?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's base it on 10 because I would rather
Be conservative.
be conservative. Yeah.
Okay. I'll give you two numbers. I'll give you a flat fee rate, and then I will give you a contingency if it was a sole outsource, meaning we were doing the work of the internal.
I guess you know, I guess one of my other concerns on that is the flat fee intrigues me. It gets us up to date. Those people can be moved around in other areas or whatever, stuff like that, and be used for other aspects over in our merchandising department. My biggest concern, I guess, just off top of mind, is if we went with the flat fee, or, whatever. The flat fee is fine, but what does that do to all the other people over there that are making sure they're getting their deductions in? They're making sure they're doing all their stuff. Are they just going to drop the ball and say, the hell with it? PRG will grab it on the do you guys, or have you guys, I know you said you have a couple companies on that. Have you found that the buyers, just say, okay, PRG, we'll grab it down the road and we'll get our money just 3 months later? Or are they still making sure that they're putting their deductions in, or however they do that, or their special promos or whatever?
Right. It's based on a lot of the KPIs that we produce at the end, right? And some of those KPIs and root causes will highlight what departments we are finding things in. And specifically, some clients want to know who the exact buyer is. Now, from that, you would take that information and leverage it as far as their own performance ratings. You know, say you're getting judged. Now, not to the extent that you're going to beat them up if they lose a little bit, right? Because we don't want them to be a roadblock for us, because they may say, no, I didn't write it, and no, I don't want you guys, PRG, to collect it, because then you're going to make me look bad, right? It's a very fine line that you're going to have to walk on.
Yep.
But you could put levels in there saying, you know, a normal slippage rate might be in the 3 to 4% of your own vendor trade funds, vendor income that you're supposed to get, right? If you're 2, 3x of that, then we got an issue, right? That's something that the reporting from our audit results would find. And then you could have action items from that to take back to those to have a process improvement plan for them, right? Um, you know, if they still have 3, 4% slippage, yeah, but I have not seen that. They put it in elsewhere, and the controls that those clients have in place, because nobody wants to be, you know, look bad because an audit,
Yep.
it's just part of their job, right? That's part of the merchant's job, is not only negotiating and finding the right products to put in the stores, right, for the best price, but it's also to negotiate those funding that they're supposed to get as well, right? Um, I have not seen that elsewhere at all.
Okay.
Now, I have seen that the internal group does it wrong. I'm going to ignore their claim until PRG comes, because I know they'll put the claim together, right, and give me all the evidence that I need to document it, right? I will say
Okay.
I haven't heard that one. So,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I would I would be curious. And
okay.
and to me that's just another talking point. Um, you know, it's something I can when I sit down and talk with my manager, or one of my managers.
Right.
I
Too many
like it.
managers.
Too many managers. You and me both, my friend. You and me both.
So yeah, I mean
Um,
it's a talking point. It's something I can bring up and say, okay, hey, this is where there's potential if we want to do a contingency, if we want to do a flat fee,
mhm.
and you know, get us up to date, or within the last quarter, or I mean, if that's, you know, the whatever, I'm that yeah, that definitely intrigues me.
And why specifically would you say that intrigues you?
I want to be up to date.
You need to be.
That's why it intrigues me so much. I remember, years ago, that one of the vendors closed their doors, and we had all sorts of deductions that needed to be made,
Hmm.
and SOL. You know, you can't get money out of somebody that's not open anymore. And I mean, even if we wait till the end of the year and we're making, you know, annual rebate deductions or whatever, I would rather get that onto a quarterly basis.
Yes.
And you know, that way, if they do close their doors, or even if we, yeah, as soon as they close their doors, we can stop payment, or then take all of our promotions, credits, whatever else you got against
Hmm.
anything open, and go from there. So yeah, I am definitely curious. I'm not sure on the buy-in, but
Okay.
I am definitely curious.
One
Yeah.
thing I
Do
That
you
did,
have, oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was just going to ask, do you have any policies like account holds where you don't pay invoices just to keep a hold on their account? Do you imply that across the board,
um
or specific vendors that you hear rumblings of them maybe being in financial trouble?
yes, we will.
Okay.
If we know about it, we will hold payment, that is usually a company that gets moved up on the list, that it's an immediate, the merchandise auditors do an immediate review.
Right. Yeah. Special audit request, right?
Yep.
Accelerate hot audit. Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
sometimes you're
again,
not, but sometimes you're not hearing until they're already locking their doors, and
Hmm.
right.
who
You
knows
get it
what you
on your,
have yeah,
yeah,
for invoices and everything else. And so,
exactly.
One thing I did want
Okay.
to bring up, Kevin, on the audit, the contingency fee. I did put a $50,000 implementation fee. That can be up front. We could maybe even split that if needed. But that's just to cover our overhead when it comes to the audit, and then plus the 15%
is that
rate.
50K on the first 50K found, or on the first 50K, or is that a straight flat fee?
That's a straight flat fee.
Okay.
Yep.
But let me with the outsource. So we'll have three options. I'm gonna assume in the pricing deck.
Yes.
It'll be this
Yes.
one as is, right, in a secondary role. The other one will be a full outsource. How do we partner and get real time so you can have that process improvement? And in there, there'll be two subs: a flat fee or a contingency based.
Yep. That yeah, that sounds good. I would yeah, definitely like to see that. So that's definitely an interesting perspective, and I don't know if that's been
It seems
proposed.
it seems like you like that idea a lot.
I do like that idea, and the main reason I like that idea again is it gets us up to date. And if
Hmm.
a flat fee level, it doesn't matter if you guys find $2 million this year, or if you find $50 million this year.
Hmm.
Yep.
So to me, that's a big thing.
Yeah, because we don't know what you missed yet until we really get in there, right? And that's the
Yeah.
scary part. So to be honest with you, we might make a package, a third option in there that just shows an all in, remove the contingency for the older stuff and just have one all in price too, I'm thinking. But let me put it together. We'll make it pretty. We'll simplify
Yeah.
it and put it on one or no more than three slides. How about that? No more than three slides. So you can take that and we'll put some of those pros cons in there too of doing
Hmm.
it, just so you have that.
Yep.
If you think of anything else you want us to put in, let me know. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'd also be. Uh, this is a side note. I mean, we'd have to get down there, but you know, I know one of the biggest concerns has always been about a flat fee rate with anybody is, where's that carrot at the end to keep them working hard for it? So is there, maybe I'll make a fourth proposal. Is there a flat fee, and anything up to um, let's say $5 million, $8 million. I don't pick a number. I'm just throwing a number at you. And then you say, okay, above that is we go to contingency. So it makes you have to, hopefully at least be getting that, you want to work for that carrot at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
that
and
could, yeah, we could do that, or we can just call it, we can do what the contingency rate would be and just call it a flat bonus payment. Let's say it's another 100,000, right?
oh yeah,
Simple terms, right? We hit this tier, we get another 100,000 on top of our flat fee. We hit this next
Hmm.
level, it's another 100, another 100, another 100. And then,
yeah,
yeah, I agree with you. The motivation, again, I'm kind of maybe unique. I just want to make you happy. So that's going to be
Same with
motivation
me.
number one to drive the troops, right? Because I want the relationship to be good and I don't want to see this as a one and done, right? I want to see
yep,
this as a long term. And I know if we don't perform and meet your expectations, while we have to mutually agree on those expectations, your expectations can't be 20 if there's only 10 there, right?
yep,
But if we hit those expectations and then do some of that defect remediation, being like, all right, here's the holes. So it might be 10 today, but in a couple of years, it should be 9 or 8 or 7, right?
yep,
The value's still there. We're still providing that service, but the recoveries are obviously going down because you're fixing things upstream. So that's really that internal partnership, holistic approach that we have. But yeah, I like that bonus level by tiers. I wrote that down too.
Hmm.
Either flat or contingent. Perfect. I like that.
Kevin, I would love to even schedule some time to kind of talk you through each one, just to give you an idea of what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys want to have a conversation, I would love to, yeah, see what you guys put together and hear a little bit more about it, and then it just gives me more knowledge when I go and I talk. So,
Okay. When, what I'd like to do, I mean, I don't know if you have time Friday to meet, if that's too
oh,
quick.
I can make time on Friday. My
Okay.
Friday pretty open. What time you guys thinking?
How about 10:30 Central?
Perfect.
All right.
Works for me.
That sounds good.
All right.
I will send an invite.
Appreciate your
Perfect.
time today. We got some work
No,
to do. We'll put that together and then get back to you on Friday.
sounds good. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys for throwing out some other stuff for me. Yeah, it adds a lot of knowledge, and hopefully I can make something work here. And then
Sounds
we can
great.
put you at the top of the list instead of the top
Love
two.
it.
There
Love
we
it.
go. I
Love
like
it.
it. I like
We are
it.
aligned.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you. I hope so too. You guys do the same.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.